Oh, yeah, for me.
Hey, Karen, how are you? Hi, Patrick. Good evening.
Hey there. How are you? I'm good.
Good.
Okay, let's begin by setting our motivation for this evening's teaching. So, Pabonka Rinpoche says that if you develop bodhicitta in your mental continuum, any contact with you will become meaningful, and those persons who interact with you will attain the supreme state of enlightenment. Therefore, feel, I am going to listen to the King of Instructions called the Stages of the Path to Enlightenment so that I can train in bodhicitta. And of course, for everyone on the prayer list. And so we'll also say these abbreviated prayers. We'll start with the Refuge in Bodhicitta prayer 3 times, which Geshe will also, he may recite this again before he teaches. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merit I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha in order to benefit all sentient beings. You know the short mandala offering. This ground anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. O holy and perfect pure Lama, from the clouds of compassion that form in the skies of your Dharmakaya wisdom, please release a rain of vast and profound Dharma, precisely in accordance with the needs of those to be trained. Idam Guru Ratnamandalakam Niryatayami. Okay, so now we'll begin the reading. So we are on day 26. We're on point 2 under the heading How to Meditate on Giving and Taking and Dependence upon That. If you have the hard copy, we're on page 506. For the sake of increasing the aforementioned contemplations on exchanging self with others, you engage in giving and taking to dispel obstacles and enhance your experience. The root verses state, trained by alternating giving and taking. Although the teachings place giving first, when you are putting them into practice in the oral tradition, we begin with taking, followed by giving in accordance with the phrase, therefore, the compassionate venerable Guru. While practicing the affectionate love of a great scope being of the Lamrim, we contemplate the faults and benefits of attachment and apply giving and taking directly to love and compassion. Once you have induced the compassion of the 7-fold instructions of cause and effect, you will develop a much more powerful compassion than you did previously through the practice of taking and giving. Once you develop proficiency in the visualizations associated with compassion, you meditate on taking. Once you develop proficiency in the visualizations associated with love, meditate on giving, taking. Furthermore, think, although mother living beings do not wish for suffering, they are unable to abandon negativity, which is the cause of suffering. If you think about what harms living beings, they are harmed by suffering. Therefore, you should contemplate, I will take their suffering upon myself as well as the causes of suffering, together with the negative karma of all living beings. Imagine that all this is conglomerated into a black heap similar to the way hair is trimmed, at which time you should think, I shall take the suffering of these beings. Next, think, although these living beings wish for happiness, they don't create the cause of happiness. If living beings are helped, they are helped through happiness. Therefore, I shall give them all my happiness, virtue, and enjoyments. The root text states, begin the sequence by taking from your own side. While practicing taking, you can also train the mind in stages. First, take the causes of negativity and suffering of tomorrow onto yourself today. Likewise, think, may I take on the causes of negativity and suffering from next month, next year, in my next life, in this month, this year, and this current life. If you practice in sequence like this, your self-confidence will increase. When you train your mind in that way, sequentially train your mind in taking on the negativity and suffering of your friend and then your enemy. Train your mind by taking on the negativity and suffering from the upper part to the lower part of your region and from the lower part to the upper. From time to time, take on the suffering of all living beings in the 10 directions embodied by the 4 types of rebirth, from the house below up to the peak of existence above. If fear arises, making you unable to think like that, it is because it is striking your self-cherishing and has penetrated the essential point. It would be excellent if you had sealed in secrecy oral instructions for generating bodhicitta at this point. However, because of its strict nature, it is bound by an oath, and there is no tradition by bestowing it indiscriminately to those who will not practice it continuously. Giving. While giving your body, transform your body into a wish-fulfilling jewel, and then, from the depths of your heart, imagine that you give all living beings your abode, body, enjoyments of the 3 times, together with your roots of virtue, whereby all living beings become endowed with consummate enjoyments and happiness. From time to time, also give the aforementioned excellence to helpings, hungry ghosts, animals, and so on. From time to time, practice giving to those who have not entered the path, the ordinary and Arya beings who have entered the path, and your Guru and the Buddhas. Also, for both taking and giving, there are extensive ways of practicing taking and giving with respect to the outer environment and the living beings within it. Where you are capable of actually benefiting human beings, dogs, and so forth. Although you may not be able to benefit them directly, you can do so indirectly and benefit them through your roots of virtue and so forth. If the beings you are visualizing are gods and demons, you should contemplate, with this I shall repay my karmic debt to you through consuming your flesh and blood with no apparent end in sight. While practicing Chur, you mentally dissect your body before these gods and demons and offer it in a continual stream without any reservations while saying, eat as much of my flesh, blood, bones, and so forth as you wish. Next, imagine that by consuming that flesh and blood, their bodies and minds are completely satiated by bliss. Practice the same way with all the other gods and demons. Thus, by practicing giving and taking with respect to all living beings, you transform their environments into pure lands, and the living beings themselves, who are their inhabitants, transform into a physical form of leisure and endowment that has all the possible favorable conditions required for the practice of dharma. Imagine that by abandoning true suffering and origins in their entirety, their mental continuums become the truth body endowed with bliss. In your practice of giving, you give your present body enjoyments and those of the future, but you don't give those of the past. While practicing taking, it is taught that Buddhas don't have faults and that your Guru's nature is also that of a Buddha. Therefore, you do not practice taking with respect to these two. While practicing giving, it is permissible to imagine that they accomplish a long life and the fulfillment of their wishes and attain all the favorable conditions for enacting the welfare of migrating beings. Thus, for a higher object, your practice of giving takes on the aspect of offering substances, and for lower beings, it becomes whatever is needed by each of the 6 classes of beings, such as clothes worth 1,000 gold coins, food with 100 flavors, 500-story houses, and so forth. The benefits of meditating on taking and giving are related in the biography of Guru Maitri Yogi, who would chant his Vajra songs on mind training while sitting on the banks of the river Ganges, wherever he had a direct vision of whereby he had a direct vision of Protector Maitreya, after which he composed a praise to Maitreya, mounting giving and taking upon the breath. It would be excellent if you were to combine taking and giving with your breath when you become proficient in the previous meditations. The root text states, mount these two upon the breath. Furthermore, you don't mount them upon the breath from the beginning. Yet, if you mount them upon the breath when you gain mental proficiency in the previous meditations, it will reach the same essential point as bodhicitta. Therefore, this has great significance for training in bodhicitta. Lama Chöpa states, I seek your blessings, that I may generate perfect bodhicitta by dispatching the wind mounted by taking and giving, and liberate living beings from the great ocean of existence with the mind of love, compassion, and superior intention. The root text states the three objects, the three poisons, the three virtuous roots. When we generate attachment for pleasing objects, we contemplate by thinking how wonderful it would be if all the attachment of all living beings would ripen upon this attachment of mine, whereby the attachment of all living beings would become endowed with the virtuous root of their attachment being non-existent. You can apply the same reasoning to anger for things unpleasant, ignorance for things of indifference, and so on. This way of practicing taking and giving when developing attachment, anger, and so on was explained by Maitri Yogi when he stated, calling forth all father and mother migrating beings, I shall summon all 5 poisons of living beings so that I may come to possess their 5 poisons. I shall distribute whatever virtues of non-existence I possess, such as attachment equally to the 6 classes of migrating beings. According to historical accounts, Dagpo Khalsan Tenzin Rinpoche would generate bodhicitta and dependence upon singing this Vajra song and meditating on it. The root verses state are the brief instructions for subsequent attainment, for the sake of stimulating remembrance, trained by means of words in all actions. This is the practice of subsequent attainment between sessions, as before, trained at all times, whether eating, sleeping, walking, or sitting, by imagining that from the depths of your heart you take upon yourself the 3 poisons and so forth of living beings. You should also train by unifying your practice with verbal incantations of teachings from texts such as Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, Nagarjuna's Precious Garland, and Sutra of Golden Light, and so forth. You should recite lines such as, how wonderful it would be if the suffering of migrating beings would ripen upon me, may their negative karma ripen upon me, and so forth. It would also be excellent if we additionally recited verses from Lama Chöpa such as, Therefore, Venerable Guru. The first line of this verse was requested by Damcho Gyatso and was subsequently added by Je Losang Chegyam. Lama Chöpa was the main practice of Je Serkampa, and he would accumulate numbers of recitations of this verse as though it was a mantra. It is said that if you practice giving and taking separately, it will be easier. Point 3. Transforming adverse conditions into the path to enlightenment. It is impossible that adverse inner and outer conditions won't occur while practicing Dharma in this degenerate age. Lama Chöpa states, when the world and its beings are completely filled with the results of non-virtue and unwanted sufferings pour down like rain, I seek your blessing that I may see this as a cause to exhaust the results of bad actions and transform adverse conditions into the path. This is an encouragement to transform adverse conditions into virtue and to think that we should be able to regard suffering as happiness. If we don't, we will be like so many living beings who abandon the Dharma no matter what happens, whether it is happiness or suffering, good or bad. Some people postpone the Dharma if something like an illness happens to them. Likewise, many give up the Dharma when their wealth and possessions are snatched or stolen, when others become jealous, criticize them, unjustly and falsely accuse them of something, or there are extenuating lawsuits when they come into possessions, wealth, and enjoyments, or an increase in prosperity, power, and fame, or when they attain a high and influential status, and so on. If any of these happen, they will say, now the Dharma is pointless, and will abandon their practice. Therefore, we must abandon the Dharma and instead transform whatever happens, whether happiness or suffering, good or bad, into the path. There are 2 ways of transforming adversity into the path. 1, transforming through thought and action, and 2, transforming through view. Transforming unfavorable conditions through thought or action. Gyawa Yang Gempa stated, if you don't destroy faults of self-grasping, even if you build a fortress, it will not keep you safe. Wherever you run, you will not be free of the enemy. Right now, endowed with the armor that knows the nature of his faults, extract the master of ruin from deep within his roots. You currently practice mistaken meditation that does not flee from this mandate. Instead, train in the illusory body on the basis of the 8 worldly concerns that occur. Develop the experience of terminating disputes within yourself. Practice offering with faith and devotion, and rob the 2 occurrences with malice. Dry rhetoric is of no use and similarly appears to have no distinctive depth. Therefore, feel whatever happens is fine, my mind is happy. Although sudden experiences are good, Here are a mere reflection. Whether severing the clinging that is attached to the conception of self, even minor mistakes are not seen by the mind. Roaming through mountain dwellings full of conceit, living beings of the degenerate era engage in bad actions. They are carried out fully in a mountain retreat. Frightened, they flee and run away the next morning. Instead, you should engage directly the equal taste of whatever you encounter without handing yourself over to conceptual thought. You must use this as encouragement to take whatever adverse conditions arise and bring them into complementary factors for your spiritual practice. Instead, we place the blame on others and say, so-and-so said something improper. Dharmarakshita's Wheel of Sharp Weapons states, in short, the undesirable things that descend upon me are the weapons of my own bad actions returning to me, like a blacksmith killed by his own sword. Now I shall be very cautious about my negative actions. Even experiencing the suffering of lower states is the weapon of my bad deeds returning to me, like an archer killed by his own arrow. Therefore, I shall be very cautious about my negative actions. The root of blame lies in the fault of not recognizing what is created by self-cherishing. Therefore, whatever suffering occurs, such as illness, when we are engaging in something like study, contemplation, and meditation, we should think, in dependence upon this, great stories of negative karma and obscurations will be purified, and whatever negative karma and obscurations I possess will all ripen upon me in this life and be purified. Also, when adverse conditions such as sickness, harm from spirits, and so on occur, this is definitely the karmic retribution for the bad actions I previously accumulated catching up with me, and I am encountering the consequence of my previous actions. We should think, these sufferings such as illness are no different from the Dharma teachings that my Lama gave, and they are an excellent teaching as a message exhorting me to the Dharma. Lama Serlingpa gave Je Atisha's a teaching that stated, adverse conditions are the spiritual guide. Demons and spirits are manifestations of the conqueror. Illness, negativity, and obstructions are brooms. Suffering is the natural display of the Dharmata. Geshe Karagpa, 11th century stated, adverse conditions are the spiritual guide. Obstacles are an exhortation to spiritual practice. Suffering is the broom sweeping away negativity. Don't view them as unpleasant misfortune. According to the historical accounts of Milarepa and Bhikshuni Lakshmi, adverse conditions are exhortation to practice dharma. It is excellent when suffering befalls us. It has the good qualities of purifying negative karma, obscurations, and so forth. If we enjoy happiness and well-being and consummate prosperity, it is exhausting our merit and has the great fault of increasing our pride, anger, arrogance, and so forth. Zapatra Rinpoche stated, don't be pleased when you are happy. Be pleased when you suffer. If you are happy, it ignites the 5 poisonous afflictive emotions. If you suffer, it exhausts your previously accumulated bad actions. Suffering is the compassion of the Lama. Don't be pleased when you are praised. Be pleased when you are disparaged. If you are praised, your pride and arrogance increase. If you are disparaged, it dispels the demons of faults. Slander is your inheritance from the deity. And we Dharma practitioners should view the excellences of this life as the enemy. Although we may be poor in resources, when we Dharma practitioners rely upon austerity as our livelihood, we should not despair. Don't be pleased with riches. Be pleased when they decline. If we have riches, our suffering increases by protecting our accumulations. If they decline, our hardships accomplish the sublime Dharma. It is directing us toward this lowly life of a Dharma practitioner. Although our compassionate teacher held the kingdom of a Chakravartin king in the palm of his hand, the next day he enthroned the Chakravartin king, and then he escaped his kingdom that very evening and became ordained. Hearing his begging bowl, he relied upon an austere life as his livelihood. He was content with simple places to sleep, clothes to wear, and alms. Delighting in being a renunciant and meditator, he dwelt within the 4 preferences of the Aryas and actualized complete enlightenment. Jamgon Tsongkhapa the Great was displeased when a Chinese minister was the king of the Taming dynasty, invited him to be the head guru of the king and his subjects, and he instead left for Olga Churling to live the life of a renunciate and engage in single-pointed practice. Together with his retinue of 8, they decided to establish conditions to restore the Maitreya statue at Xingqi Temple. However, they didn't even have 8 pennies to purchase the ritual water offering set. They offered very special butter tormas to Vaishnavana as a way of accomplishing his enlightened actions. J. Milarepa's sister went to Jingari and saw Bari Lotsao with umbrellas above him, wearing fine silk robes and practicing Dharma with a vast collection of prosperity. Having seen this, he traveled to the foot of Milarepa and said, he has another kind of excellent Dharma. My brother practices a kind of dharma that doesn't even give him enough food to eat or even clothes to cover his back. You are only purchasing the cost of suffering, staying here and trying to endure whatever you can. If you check and see if Bari Lotsal will accept you as his servant, then even if you become the lowest of them, it will still make you happy. Jetson replied, first, the upper part has a parasol topped with the golden base. Second, the lower part is draped with Chinese silk. Third, the middle part has a canopy of peacock feathers. Fourth, it is painted with 5 types of color. I could also have those 4 hoisted above me, but I have abandoned the 8 worldly concerns, and I am happy. First, a small, pretty monastery on the outskirts of village. Second, a new young teacher expounding the Dharma. Third, the dexterous hands of happy young monks. And fourth, a stove top for making Indian butter tea. I could also get these 4 if I wanted to care for them, but I have abandoned the 8 worldly concerns, and I am happy. First, a fine horse with its head held high. Second, an ornamental saddle glittering with jewels. Third, a warrior in his brightly shining iron armor. And fourth, the passion for subduing enemies and protecting friends. I could also get these 4 if I wanted to subdue them, but I have abandoned the 8 worldly concerns, and I am happy. First, the abbess and priestess as the silk offering masters. Second, making a silk offering while greedily wishing for food. Third, a little song of a young woman meant to deceive. And fourth, village rituals of divinations, chanting, and astrology. I could also get these 4 if I wanted to care for them, but I have abandoned the 8 worldly concerns, and I am happy. Thus, to reduce the extent of the influence of the 8 worldly concerns while abiding in the 4 preferences of the Aryas is very important. If such a thing comes about, we will be following the example set in the biographies of our teacher and his successors. Ordained monks who have promised to abandon the 7 known virtues along with the retinues are also dwelling in the 4 preferences of the Aryas. If we renounce the 8 worldly concerns, we won't need anything more than contentment, even though we have worn out clothing and miserably insipid food. Don't be pleased with high status, be pleased with low status. High status gives birth to jealousy and pride. Low status increases your openness to spiritual practice. A low profile is a superior position. Wrap your nose rope around your neck. We should maintain such a low position that nothing, with the exception of water, can pass beneath us. Dontopa Rinpoche also stated, even if I'm respected as authentic by all, I think, may this reduce my pride. And even if there is no one else who is greater than me, may I assume a lower position and remain happy. According to Dontopa's biography, by assuming a lower position, Dontopa made prostrations to Shang Changpa Berchung, and when Lo Gompa invited Drom and Drom was on the road to visit Lo, Drom encountered a Ngakpa and voluntarily made prostration to the Ngakpa's shoes. If we conduct ourselves in this way, it will be possible for adverse conditions to the Dharma to manifest as happiness. When all the Shravakas of our teacher were invited to travel to a border region, the teacher said that the people in the border region were faithless, were vile, and maintained a bad livelihood. The Shravakas thought, if they slander us but don't beat us, it would be best. And if they beat us and we don't die, that would be best. The Buddha replied, if such a thing happens by going to the regions without dharma, and if you follow these instructions, you will not degenerate. Therefore, you have permission to go. In the same way, whatever happens to us, such as suffering, poverty, and inferiority, we will be able to bring it into the path. For example, when merchants head out on the road in the summer and it rains, they say that the thieves will not come. If it snows in the wintertime, they say it's beneficial to the horse's hoofs. In this way, they transform these adversities into supportive elements, transforming adverse conditions into the path through view. The lines, viewing mistaken appearances as the 4 Buddha bodies is the unsurpassed protection of emptiness, are in accordance with the interpretation of earlier Tibetan Buddhist traditions. By perceiving the essential nature of adverse conditions such as illness, harm from spirits, and so forth, as not being born in any way whatsoever from the beginning, they are the unborn truth body. Since they are ultimately free of cessation, they are the unceasing enjoyment body. Since they are unceasingly born and do not abide in between, they are the non-abiding emanation body. Their inseparable essential nature is the nature truth body, and so on. In our own tradition, we consider them illusory-like dreams while remaining in a state that views the non-true existence of every adverse condition that could possibly arise, such as sickness, suffering, and so on. The root text states the 4-fold practice is the supreme method. These 4 are 1, accumulating merit, 2, purifying obstructions, 3, offering torments to spirits, and 4, entrusting Dharma protectors with enlightened actions. Accumulating merit. When suffering befalls us, once we present offerings to the 3 jewels, we should pray. Since this is exhausting my previously accumulated negative karma and is coming from taking on the suffering father and mother living beings, may such things continue to occur. If it is best that I am ill, grant your blessings that I may be ill. If it is best that I die, grant your blessing that I may die. If it is best that I live, grant your blessing that I may live. Purifying obscurations. Employ confession and four opponent powers completely by understanding that negative karma is the cause of suffering. Offering torments to spirits. If you are practitioners of mind training, you should dedicate the collections of flesh and blood from your body by commanding them. The harm and so forth that you previously caused me function to encourage me to practice Dharma. The occurrence of suffering purified numerous negativities and enhanced my mind training. Continue to send even greater illness and suffering. Offering torments to Dharma protectors. Offer torments to the Dharma protectors and make supplications thinking. Engage in your enlightened actions so that, in dependence upon being able to bring whatever suffering and harm befalls me into the path, I will be able to generate the conventional bodhicitta that has not been generated, maintain that which has been generated, and increase even more that which is being maintained in dependence upon that suffering. If there are some people whose minds are not developed enough to be able to bring such training into the path, they should offer torma and entrust the Dharma protectors with their enlightened action to pacify unfavorable conditions to bodhicitta and accomplish favorable conditions. You can also offer torment to the spirits and ask them not to send obstacles to training in bodhicitta. You can also consider how, whenever sickness, suffering, and so forth emerge, it is definitely purifying your karmic debt. Likewise, such meditations are the essential point of practices such as cure, as well as purification and restoration rituals of Dharma protectors. If you're also going to practice cure, you should do so at this point. Although the term cure is expressing that we should sever our self-grasping and self-cherishing, these days it isn't used as an antidote. Instead, it has become a means of traveling around villages and begging for roasted barley. Sa-Patra Rinpoche expressed his thoughts on the matter when he stated, although you beat your small drum, it is for mere enjoyment. Although you carry flesh and blood, it is out of self-cherishing. Although you play your small cymbals, it is without reference point. Abandon your deceptively nice-looking, ostentatious display. If we engage in the 100 torma offering while reciting confessional moral downfalls, we will be accomplishing an extensive practice with the essential meaning of these four practices of mind training. The root text states, apply meditation to whatever you encounter. Thus, you should employ the meditations for applying the antidotes to whatever adverse conditions you encounter. For example, previously in Tibet, during the outbreak of a large battle, a mind training practitioner named Kurlun Geshe was frightened at first, but after recalling the instructions, he experienced happiness. We should be that way as well. Day 27. The great Bodhisattva Glory Shantideva stated in Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life, like the supreme elixir that transformed into gold, firmly grasp this thing called bodhicitta, which transformed this impure human body we have taken into the priceless jewel of the conqueror's body. Although we are born amid the swamp of samsara and are uncontrollably bound by karma and afflictive emotions, with the mind of precious bodhicitta, we can transform this impure body into the priceless jewel of a Buddha's body adorned with the signs and indications, which is analogous to an elixir that can transform base metals into gold. Set your motivation by thinking, for the sake of enacting that transformation, I'm going to listen to this king of instructions. Self and others are analogous to making distinctions between this mountain and that mountain in dependence upon the ground from which we are making such observations. Query. Well then, is there no difference between myself and others with respect to this body? Reply. This body is also others since it was born from the sperm and ovum of your father and mother. For that reason, if you train by shifting your position between the two perspectives of cherishing self and cherishing others, you will be able to develop the transference in general. If we contemplate results that come from the functioning of two types of cherishing self and others, we will develop conviction. As I explained earlier, we focused on the benefits and faults by observing the difference between the Buddha and ourselves. Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states, what need is there for a lot of explanation? The childish work for their own welfare, and the munis work for the welfare of others. Just look at the difference between these two. The way to train is to stress the visualization of love and compassion with respect to giving and taking. When giving a brief explanation according to the other general preliminary rituals, you recite, I supplicate you, Tuman Dojacham, whose nature is the four Buddha bodies. Here, you can substitute with the supplication, I supplicate you, Guru Avalokiteshvara, through which purifying lights and nectar descend. Next, you meditate on equanimity, recognizing all beings as your mother and recalling their kindness and the wish to repay their kindness. Although these meditations are not different from the sevenfold cause and effect system, the love and compassion of the sevenfold instructions of cause and effect and those of equalizing and exchanging self with others are different. By considering the faults of self-cherishing, the benefits of cherishing others, your recollection of their kindness will be much stronger. From that, you will develop a very powerful, affectionate love. From that, you will develop a much more powerful bodhicitta. You can also meditate on giving and taking according to the dedication and so forth from Shantideva's God to the Bodhisattva's way of life, and then develop superior intention. If you are going to engage in an extensive practice for developing these minds, train in stages utilizing the following 13 headings. 1. Practicing equanimity. 2. Recognizing all beings as your mother. 3. Recalling their kindness, 4. Wishing to repay their kindness. 5. Contemplating the equality of self and others. 6. Contemplating in numerous ways the faults of self-cherishing. 7. Contemplating in numerous ways the benefits of cherishing others. 8. Contemplating the reason it is necessary to cherish others. 9. Actually exchanging self and others. 10. Practicing taking by placing emphasis on the meditations on compassion. 11. Practicing giving by placing emphasis on the meditations on love. And at the conclusion of that, supplementing it with 12 superior intention and the 13 actual bodhicitta. Alternatively, you can dispense with equanimity and have 12 cycles of meditation. Either way you train, it will result in bodhicitta. Point 4, presentation of a lifetime's practice. In summary, the root text states, the essential instructions briefly stated are the application of the 5 forces. This reveals the practice of one life within a 24-hour period and how to combine that in the 5 forces. For that, there are 2 applications. 1, the continual practice of the 5 forces, and 2, the practice of the 5 forces at the time of death. Those 5 forces, the first is the following, the force of intention. All Dharma activities and worldly activities, as well as whatever virtuous or negative actions we undertake, depend upon the way in which intention is formed, from something as substantial as war between countries to something as minor as a simple monk making out of tea. Every action depends upon forming an intention. Although from the beginning we formed the intention to make profit and success, pleasant conversation, fame, and so forth, we should not do so. Instead, from the moment we awaken in the morning, we should form our intention by thinking, at the very least, I'm going to practice some Dharma. However, setting such a limited intention is inappropriate for practitioners of mind training. Instead, after rising early each day, we should think, today I am so fortunate that I have not died thus far. Therefore, right now in this life in general, and within that, in this year, in this month, and on this day in particular, I'm going to do everything possible to subdue this insidious demon of self-cherishing and strive to elicit as much as possible and experience the 2 types of bodhicitta, therefore extracting the essence of this life of leisure and endowment. It is extremely important that we repeatedly recall the motivation we formulated in the morning for the day, the force of familiarity. Employ familiarity to training the mind of the 2 types of bodhicitta. Furthermore, Shantideva's Guide to the Bodhisattva's Way of Life states there is nothing that is not easy to accomplish if we have familiarity with it, and there isn't any phenomena whatsoever that is not easy once you familiarize your mind with it. For example, whether or not a Thangka painter is skilled at artistry depends on the degree of his familiarity. Through repeated and stable visualization of the object of attachment and so forth, they will arise as though they are directly perceptible before us. In the same way, if the mind is familiar through repeated contemplation, the object will appear clearly. If we become familiar with the Lamrim mind training and even the generation and completion stages, they will become easy. According to their biographies, some of the previous holy beings could contemplate a scanning meditation on the entire Lamrim while putting one of their feet in the stirrups. The path of meditation is reflecting again and again, fathoming and gaining a definite understanding. Now, Geshe is here.
Yeah, please have a seat. Oh, yeah. Good evening, Ramasi, Venerable Alhamdulillah, Ramasi, Ryan. Good evening, Cameron. Good evening, Karen. Good evening, Bodhisattva Patrick. Good evening, David. Good evening, Elise. Good evening, Romini. Good evening, Pati Panditji. Rene, good evening. Good evening, Michael. Good evening, Nico. Good evening, Mary. Good evening, Govina. Good evening, Nili Wong. Good evening, Lee. Good evening, Anthony. Good evening, Hafiz. Anybody watching on YouTube, good evening. Thank you, Mary. Thank you very much for your beautiful card. Oh, yeah. Banje chodan soje chonam no chanju kono dani no dani chushi jebe sonam no no peje banje chodan soje chonam no dani no dani chushi jebe sonam dola peje tanje no 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 banje chodan soje chonam dagi chushi jebe sonam dola peje tanje no 관계 도저히 요소네 따와 단계 법에서 담배 전에도 그 고담된 나 차지. Oh, yeah. So, any questions?
No questions at this time, Geshe.
Oh, very good. So then, Ramula, where we stop?
We are on day 27, and we're talking about the five forces at the time of life,
Oh,
and we're on the second force or power. You know, the five forces. So we're on point 4.
Point 4.
Yes, Geshe.
27.
Presentation of a lifetime's practice in summary.
Oh.
And the root text is the essential instructions briefly stated are the application of the five forces.
So you are already finished like the 5 power, like you're reading on the number 4?
No, we're on point 4, but we're on this, we finished the second force or power.
Okay. So what is called in English the first power?
In the book, it says the force of intention. I think you usually say motivation.
No, intention or motivation. Power of force. Same thing. Power of better choice. I think. Power of intentions. That is. I think very much needed. It's not just. This is now here according to this 7-point mind training text. The trying to summarize lifelong practice into these 5 powers. This is what is happening here. I think the energy that kind of connects us with the object, the consciousness itself cannot just connect to the object, but energy, the activity of the energy is like the function of the energy is to make us making contact with the object. So motivations, the power of motivation is very needed in every situation. It's not just spiritual practice. Every situation, power of motivation is very needed. Whether we'll connect with positive object or negative object is very much depend on the part, like the mind, the intentions. If the intention is positive, so the energy is going to be positive, then more likely that energy will connect us with the positive object. Okay, so that's the whole point here. Like spiritual practice and mundane and everything in life, whether it's like spiritual field or mundane field, the motivation is power of motivation is very much needed. That's true. Positive action, negative action is very much dependent on the power of intentions. Without intentions, we hardly do anything. So then, like, even though your memory is like kind of fading away, so like I think you still have intentions. You still have intentions. It's like hard to believe that not to have intentions. You still have intentions, but not based on all the memory that you have, but you have intentions. Longest, is a part of the primary consciousness. It's the part of the primary consciousness. That does not mean like six mental consciousness. Primary consciousness related to the six senses. It doesn't have to be six mental consciousness. So attention is a part of that. What do we call like five omnipresent mental factors. So their attention is already there. Intention is probably already part of that. Not based on like when you like memory is fading away, what we call dementia, mild, but still you have intentions. Not necessarily based on the old memory, but based on the new memory. So the power of intention is very much needed. So then according to Lama Tsongkhapa, the text that Lama Tsongkhapa composed particularly for his mother after she passed away. Prayer, of course, like beginning and end, and the middle and beginning, middle, and end. That's the name of the prayer. So in that prayer, the Lama Tsongkhapa stated, Hasam Namba Tabe, Tarje Chars. So when we wake up, so then so like we need to raise. We need to raise the similar like the in the sailboat, you have like this fabric that you raise. What do you call fabric? What is the sailboat?
It's called a sail. It's a sail. It's a sail.
Yeah. Every morning you need to raise your sail. In this case, it refers to kindness. Kindness toward yourself and kindness for all other living beings. That's how you raise your sail of kindness. So then you can really sail. You need wind. In this case, the wind is like joyful effort, that you are not just like you feel like obligated to do. No, you are happy to do, like not just obligated to do, you are happy to do. Joyful effort, there's like wind. the sale is already raised. Now there's need, in order to sell, need win. So in this case, joyful effort is like service, like win. So now the boat is like knowledge, experience, meditative experience, knowledge, deeper understanding of Lamrim. It's like more like, like boat yourself is like more like boat combined with knowledge, experience, understanding, okay? So that's how you're going to sell yourself, cross the ocean of samsara, and not just yourself, and also help everybody else to cross the ocean of samsara. So that's what Lama Tsongkhapa said. So power of intention is like sell is very much needed in order to move from this side to other side, this side samsara, other side moksha, nirvana. To move, you very much depends on boat. Like this is the boat. Sell, there's the kindness, compassion, loving kindness, compassion, the win, joyful effort. So then sell. So the power of intention is very much needed. So it's all this, even like conflict, like not just in 21st centuries. I think since the beginning of the human civilizations, there are war in different scale. It's all driven by intention, motivation. So then from first century to till now, 21st century, all these wars there, like between family, between friends, between village, between county, between state, between countries. This is all driven by intention or intention. Chua large taba tajang chako. Smallest scale, even just monks making tea, that doesn't have to be monk. It could be you. The monk is just said here. Could be you. Like even making a tea, you require some intention. Without intention, to make tea. That's just an example. Nganzo tambo neji rangla kedam jaka dam nyenda so wongju pemba tanya. So honestly speaking, there's not much for others, So intention is very much directed towards oneself. There's not much for others. So that's how that like it's not the right direction. It's not the right direction. So that's what the intention, part of the intention has been like that. So now it's time to redirect the part of intentions, to think about, much bigger than yourself. Think much bigger than yourself. Oh, that's what I mean. Keda member shobani sematane manda chushi chene pemba tongre so. Everything should not be just for this life. Everything should not be just for this life. So in that case, then it's not special, because even the insect, animal does that too. It's not that different. It's like it's not we are the only one who's doing that. No, so every living being is doing the same thing. They are doing things for themselves in this life. Not, So we as a human, we need to think, not to just take care of this life and think about taking care of many more lives in the future. So that's the kind of intentions needed to in this life to do something that has ripple of benefit in many more life in the future till you reach enlightenment. So that makes us different than animals. Animals cannot do. So that's why this life is called precious human life. So this is the only form that you can do. Some other realms that you like, environment doesn't allow you to do, even though some of them is better than human realms, but environment doesn't contribute to that kind of mindset. So this is the human. Within the human, there may be like 3 different types of human realms. So there are so many distractions. So this is the only human, northern world. The human is the only capable to motivate, do something that has a ripple of impact in many more life in the future. So that is the special. And other than that, doing something for this life, even the animals has that too. So there's nothing special. 대단히 저번에 있었던 만다 쉬시 자연의 피봤던 것이. 로조 최니 편봤던 저지 편봤던 저 편봤던 저야 대참지 미쳐봐 니제신 맞도 당번에 다 다른 편지 마시와 가왔어. How that Lojong practitioner is someone who's like reading about mind training test, who's thinking about mind training test, or who's meditating on mind training, how they should awake every morning, every day in the morning, how they should awake, what kind of mindset they have. So, see, when they wake up, they think, oh, I'm alive. So they get joy simply knowing that you are breathing, you are alive. They get joy. Why? Because you can do something that has ripple of positive impact, many more life in the future. That's why they get joy. So now the question is, do we ever get joy? Now question that each individual needs to answer. If not, maybe you are not thinking like that. Maybe that's why you are not getting joy. Or there's not a part of your thought process that you wake up. There's another kind of mindset that you wake up. Now maybe time to try and see, is this the best mindset to awake? With some gratitude, beside complain or thinking something negative. That's not the best way to start the day. Sake of your own happiness, and happiness for other people too, people around you, family members, friends, all of that. So these are the Lojong practitioners. That's how they're trying to awake every morning. Taring Penji Mashiba Kawasan is very fortunate that I'm alive. That's how they feel. Each time they wake up, they feel fortunate. That means they feel good to be alive. Do we do that? Probably if not, so then probably the joy of doing that is probably will not be there. Then you are thinking the second thought pattern is this life. Relatively long. Then you are thinking this life, divided based on year, month, week, day, time, hours, minute, moment. Then you kind of divide it like that. This life, this year, this month, then you can say this week or this, here it jumps from month to day. So then that's the kind of thought process they wake up every morning. That's how they wake up every morning. They go through this, the mindset, this kind of like, thought process they go through. It's all positive. There's no negative. It's all positive. Thinking about this life, thinking about this year, this month, and particularly thinking about it all boils down this year, this month, this life boils down to year, year boils down to month, month boils down to so then eventually it boils down today, this day, today. The present moment, they've been talked widely everywhere. Present, be present. That's exactly how to be present. Present moment. Focus on the present moment. So then you realize practicing lojong or taming your mind, training your mind, you realize that completely, 100% ignoring welfare of other beings is not the best. You realize that it's not the best. It's not the best way of living your life. 100% ignoring well-being of other people based on pride, based on wealth, based on positions, based on look, based on fit, and based on tribe, race, religion, culture, traditions, is not the best way to live a life, not the best. 100% ignoring based on that, these kind of things, is not the best way of living a life. You are not living your life the best of the best. It's not the best way of living. So means, other hand, means like only thinking about yourself, only thinking about yourself. There's nothing for other, zero. But that's not the best way of living your life. Practical level. So then you realize, only thinking about myself, that kind of opens door for many complications, many problems, many complications. You realize that by studying, reading, thinking about mindfulness, eventually you realize that. So then you kind of like rethinking about that. Chanju ji sem namba ni la nyuwa chi de che de tanju nimbo abdulama she nyama. So now, two types of altruistic attitude or bodhicitta, two types of altruistic attitude of bodhicitta. So you are now more focusing on that. Eventually you realize this is the best way to live a life, is embracing altruistic attitude. That's the best way of living your life. The best way of living your life is to embrace two types of altruistic attitude or bodhicitta, that mind that think about well-being of other living beings. It brings you tremendous joy and happiness, mental happiness. And not just that, and it gives you purpose too. It gives you purpose to the purpose of your life. It gives purpose and meaning in your life while you live. So then you feel great. You get a lot of benefit of doing that. Chanju just said number that's how exactly, that's how you take best out of this precious human life, or taking the essence out of this precious human life with that kind of mindset. So then you are living your life the fullest, the best. Okay? Nimo yang tana pemba tawanda yatime. Throughout the day, then you remind yourself the thought process that you wake up with, just couple of thought process, mindset, how you wake up this morning, a couple of mindsets. Throughout the day, you kind of remind yourself. Why we have to remind? Thinking only about yourself, that mindset has been there long time. It will not probably go away easily. That's why you remind yourself that throughout the day there's risks, or there's a lot of opportunities, or there's a lot of risks, that you may fall back into that old pattern of thought, very much driven by only thinking about yourself. There's always risk. That's why you remind yourself how you wake up this morning, or then that's why you throughout the day you remind yourself. You more young Tana Pemba Town Tempa nature, so mindfulness, being mindful. So now that's kind of covered the, like power of intention or motivations. Power into motivation. So it's quite amazing that what humans can accomplish. So some human accomplish many great things within this life. We are same physically, we are same. We are also human too. We are also capable to accomplish that. Because when you look at those great masters, and when you read their biography, like it's kind of like mind-blowing, like how much they achieve, because of this human life. So that covers the power of intention. It's quite important. So like when you wake up, raise yourself, loving kindness, compassion. So then after that, so I just explain that. Then you go through that thought process. Okay. So now the second power, the power of familiarity. These are like same, like 5 power time of death is the same name but different explanation, probably same name. So now like so best intentions, it's the best way. When you are living, the best intentions very much needed. When you are dying, the best intentions very much needed. There's power of intention very much needed. So that's why the 5 power time of death and the 5 power, that kind of sums up lifelong practice. Is the same thing, same term. It's both called power of intentions. So any form of positive intention is very much needed. The best bodhicitta, altruistic attitude, that's the best. If not, positive intention very much needed. Then the power of familiarity is the competitive chanjuji semnila lojane kumbachela. So now the Lama is quoting a Guide to Buddhist Life. Shanti there was text Guide to Buddhist Life. So see, I think here, so that like a root text is kind of like the word kind of change a little bit, not much change, tiny. I think like I've been thinking that last couple of months I've been thinking, why was that? Like there are so many commentaries that when you read the root text, they're the same. Like for example, it's a Guide to Buddhist Way of Life, root text. But it's commentary, there's a little bit change, word here, there, change a little bit. Not the meaning, the word change. That's also not, like the best. In order to prevent the confusion about the root text in the future. That's probably not the best mistake to have. So I think now I've been thinking that what happens like in monastery, the monks, you remember a lot of, you remember text by your heart. You remember 100 page, 200 page, 300 page, 1,000 page, you remember by memory because you memorize them. So now I think what happens is that you remember, but you don't remember exactly how it worded. But you remember very clearly the meaning, but you don't remember exactly how it worded. So then when you teach teachings, maybe there's not, book is not there, Guide to Buddhist Way of Life is not here, it's maybe somewhere else. So it's inconvenient, so then you just kind of remember, you just said, probably somebody took note. So that's how I think that's how the different word, little bit, no meaning, different word, different word. So now here, same thing here. So here, the word is a little bit different. It actually says, then the same meaning, but a different word. So then eventually it's get to the point that you don't know exactly which word is taught by Shantideva, so that's the risk. So I'm not sure why I'm saying this, I'm just, because I got some interest in there, so that's why I'm saying this. So sorry for that. So that's very true. If you try to put what Shantideva's point is, oh, we should not overwhelm, like I cannot do this, this too much, like I can even just cannot do this, and you are asking me to, you are telling me or maybe suggesting me to do this, I can't do. So Shantideva was basically reminding us, no, you don't need to feel overwhelmed. No, don't get discouraged. Look at somebody do know how to make banana bread. Don't think that you cannot ever make banana bread. That's like not the best mindset to have, because right in front of your eye, somebody's making it. That's human. So probably that person probably is not born with their talents. That person probably learn. So why you think that you are never ever going to make banana bread? That's not good mindset to have. You can make banana bread. You can learn, but you could need to put some effort. You need to pay attention how to make, how to measure. You can make. You can try. If you try multiple times, then you can say, "Oh, maybe I'm not the best banana bread maker," because because the few times the banana bread doesn't turn out very well. So, but still, you are part of the banana. You are the part of the group that makes banana bread. You are already in that group. You can say, "Oh, I can make banana bread." You can say, you could say, "I can make the best banana bread," or you can say, "My banana bread is okay," but before even you have no desire to learn, you don't believe that you can make. Same thing for everything, like, oh, there's too much to learn. Yeah, we can learn. Oh, there's 100 words to learn. Oh, 1 word a day, 1 word a day. When the 100 days pass, you learn 100 words. It is possible. You don't have to think that one day you have to learn 100 words. No, you don't have to learn 100 words one day. 1 word a day. 1 week, 7 words. There's less than 100 words left. No. If we put effort, we can learn anything. Anything. Some other humans are learning. Same, you are also human too. Some other humans are you are same human. So we need to encourage ourselves. So yeah, because there's risk that you will feel discouraged. There's risk. Shantideva knows that inside out. So that's why Shantideva put that statement there. So the next 2 lines, if you learn how to tolerate small difficulties, that's the next 2 lines. There's only 2 lines, first 2 lines. The next 2 lines, if you learn how to tolerate small difficulties, then you learn how to tolerate bigger difficulties. Communication problems, like that, okay? Yeah, so I don't blame you, because I fall into that boat. When I first came to here, I thought I will never learn how to type. I have no confidence at all. I have zero confidence. You know, in monastery, nobody has computer. So when you come here, there are people with computer, somebody trying to teach you how to type, even cannot find the keyboard. And the person is telling you, oh, maybe idea is to type without looking at keyboard. That seems like beyond your reach, because how? In your mind, that's impossible, impossible. It takes just to find the keyboard. Even the person who's teaching you, pointing here, there, few times, eventually, slowly, then you realize it is possible because you did it, put effort. Now that mindset seems to be a few years before that mindset, oh, it is impossible. Now it's possible. Now there's not shock. It's not surprising because you are doing it. Same thing. Like, oh. So now probably not the best thing to say right from the beginning to someone. I'm not criticizing my teacher who taught me how to type, but in my mind, it's not the best thing to say, oh, you can, goal is you type without looking at keyboard, probably. That makes you even more discouraged because if you cannot find keyboard, now you are telling me type without looking at keyboard. That seems very impossible. But, you know, kindness of the teachers, now you can type, I can type, it's no surprise. So now when you're trying to teach some other monks how to type, you forget how much patience that your teacher has been showing to you when you don't know how to type. And you completely forget that. You think like, oh, it's like, oh, you almost think like this, like natural born talent, which is not. You put so much effort and the teacher's kindness, patience. So now you are teaching someone else, you are losing your patience. You are kind of like frustrated or irritated. How many times I point the keyboard, how come you can't see? Yeah, you went through the same thing, you forget. The same thing. And that, you know, so yeah, so there's anyway, so if we put effort, if something that interests you, if there's first and foremost important things, you have to see the benefit. So that's how we help other people. First explain the benefit. Benefit. What's the benefit? Don't talk about what's going to happen. No, what is the benefit? So more likely that will generate, if the person sees the benefit, more likely it will generate some interest, some form of interest. If that person becomes interested, so they're more likely that person will put some effort. If that person put effort, so that produce result based on the size of the result, based on the size of effort. Definitely there will be result, but based on the size of the results, very much based on the size of effort that you put in. There will be result, definitely. So that's how we know, like Shakyamuni Buddha taught us, you know, with very skillful way, very compassionate way, taught us, you know, like even though you are like even our lives all mess up, so you probably don't see even like any hope at all. With that kind of condition, when you approach Shakyamuni Buddha, what Buddha will say something positive, something positive. You think that you don't deserve anything at all. Buddha, you may think, oh, Buddha will like I say, scold you. No, not at all. Buddha will approach you with the kindness and the full respect and kindness. That's what Shakyamuni Buddha will do. And because what? Because Buddha sees you possess Buddha nature. Buddha sees that you are not one with your actions. Your action and you are separate. Buddha says, no, as far as your actions are concerned, can be purified. there's ability to become enlightened. So that's exactly what this is. Action and actor separate, not one, separate. So, so that's why, as the last couple of slides I've been saying, always approach to yourself with the kindness, compassion, respect. You do the same thing with other people when you see they are going through difficulties. Do the same thing to yourself. So, as I said, it's hard. Yeah. If you see the benefit, the general interest, then you put effort. So then there'll be 100%, there'll be result based on effort. Amount of effort you put, there will be result. There's 100% guarantee there will be result. Okay. Oh yeah. That is good. Maybe what time is now? Okay, so we sleep sometime. Sorry, so much been said. So as I said, I come from that. So I thought, something's impossible. Impossible. Now, I don't think it's impossible. I'm thinking it is possible. Someone else say, it's impossible. I will tell them it is possible. And I came from that. It's possible, So I'm same like you. Don't know don't know how to find the keyboard. So now I don't need to, I can type without looking at keyboard. I am the living example. Not enlightenment, but how to type. Not a living example of enlightenment, but how to type. For you, it's not big deal, but for us coming from a monastery, there's no zero computer, nobody has computer. It's a kind of big deal. But I'm the living example. So that's just an example, so you can do. So that's why Shanti was encouragement for all of us. Whenever you feel discouraged, please don't. You can learn. Komba yonsu zoba na desa mido lodeche sheso pena ladiki namchi remotiva. Just what you said, like, do you see your full enlightenment now? No. That means is not there? No, it's there. It's already started. It's already started. When you are painting a tree, the minute you put your pencil, or what do you call pencil, on your the piece of paper, the beautiful flower is already started. Do you see? No, you see just line. So then you finish the outline. Does it look beautiful? Not really. But there's like flower shapes there. Before it's just line. So then you put, then you finish, then you put then you color them, then all of a sudden, beautiful flower. Minute you put your pencil, it's already started. It's already started. So like Thanga painting, first you draw lines, many lines, because for sake of measurement, everything's very precisely measured. Then you draw many lines, make sure that the ears goes in the right place, nose. First, that's how they train. Many lines, up, down, many lines. What do you see? Just line. Do you see Shakyamuni Buddha's image there? No, it's just line. Slowly, you see some lines. Start from there, then slowly, just full of scratch. So then eventually now you see the shape. So then you paint them, you color them now. Beautiful image. It's already started like that. Ta shati ken nam remote wala kemi Yeah, so then even artists, artists, some of them are good, some of them not good. Yeah, that's all, as I said, result is going to be determined based on the effort, based on effort. More effort, more result, less effort, less result, is based on that. That's good artists, bad artists, so the coaching like you so like I am me but the musum didn't do you about the Juma, you think yes, look. Same like if you're very attached to someone, keep thinking. So then almost like that, it gets to the point that like almost like object is right there, almost like right there. Like that's the power of mind. Can you imagine the power of mind? You keep thinking, then eventually that power of course, the power of mind, there's energy. Without energy, you cannot contact mind, just only mind cannot contact with the object, because the energy is the one who contact the mind and object. So see, when the mind goes on something, there's energy. Oh, so then you can imagine like all the same like visualization, like same like just attached to something. So then you're thinking about they keep thinking almost to get to the point is almost you feel like it's there. Almost like that, clear, bright, same like visualizations, meditating on with the Buddha all the time. All of a sudden you can almost feel is the present of that holy object is right there, Who did that? You did it. How? Mind. Oh, Kobali Juma the Lamino Jujas Soja Kumala Hung, there's Muji Tambage, Chibi wood. Yeah, Lamrim it took a long time, there's a lot of things, So you do all the time, that's just example. Anything. Sometimes people take a long time. For you, it takes not that long because you know how to do. You've been doing this long period of time. You can know exactly how to do, and you do it well. Same like Lamrim meditation, hours and hours. It gets to the point, it comes down to the point, it won't take more than 5 minutes. The entire Lamrim meditation is done. Can you believe that? So now you probably say, oh, that's impossible. Yeah, somebody did it. There's some living example, not living example, there's example. So so whenever you think that you cannot type without looking at keyboard, so please call me. So I'm the living example. So not about Lamrim. so Lamrim meditation can be done like that. That's example. Somebody else did it. So here nobody rides a horse. You get into the car, before you start the car, Lamrim meditation is done. So okay, that's possible. So I'm thinking, probably you are thinking now, that's impossible. Yeah, it is possible. It's possible. So the Pobonga Rinpoche said that is possible. It is possible. Okay. Yeah, how much that this great master, when you read their biography, you realize how much they accomplished. It's all credit go to seeing the benefit, having an interest, putting so much effort, and that's all that happened. Yeah, so then enlightenment is possible, liberation is possible, it's very possible. And more than that, the effort you put in, no longer. Yang Sembatan, Jadan Yedo Kundelams. Yeah. Again and again, there's nothing new. If you want to be the best banana bread maker, you have to make again and again. You can't just make one and hope that you are going to be the best banana maker, banana bread like banana, how is it, banana bread maker, or how is it, maker? Maker, not maker.
Maker or baker?
Baker, banana bread baker. You cannot hope that you will become the best banana bread baker entire world just doing one time. Never happened, never happened. Probably not going to happen now. It's not going to happen in the future. If you really want to make the best banana bread, you have to try again and again and again and again. That's the only way you can become better. Similarly, everything else. Being kind first time is hard. Forgiving yourself is hard, not easy. Do it again, again, again. Or seeing precious human life, seeing your lives are precious, it's not easy. Doing that again, 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 eventually it becomes easier, much easier. Oh, so everything. Similarly, other hand, thinking something negative, again, get worse, worse, and worse, and worse, and worse. To get to the point that you don't believe you can fix. Same thing. Negative thing, same thing. Thinking, oh, my life has no meaning, oh, I'm not good, so I'm not done. Thinking like that again, then it gets to the point that you 100% believe that you are not good, you are not worthy. Your life has no meaning. Because why? Because you're thinking like this all the time. If you're thinking that your life is precious and precious all the time, then you will feel that your life is precious. Why? Doing one same thing again, 100%, it will make result. There's no debate. There's 100% guarantee. If you're doing something again, it will produce result. Definitely, there's no doubt. Okay? So therefore, we should not, including myself, we should not get discouraged. So need to remind ourselves that we can do. So then, very important, the power of intentions. Very important to remember the minute you wake up, remember. Then before you get out of your bed, you already did short meditation. Short, profound, meaningful meditation has been done before you drink your cup of tea or coffee. Finish. It's not that difficult. You do it again. Eventually, you don't need to think, it just pops up. So that's probably called like then that's meditative experience. And rise without very much effort, because effort has already been put in. Amount of effort has already been put in. Now no need more effort. Then it's become rise effortlessly. It will rise without effort. It doesn't effortless. It becomes effortless. Okay. Well, thank you very much, so all of you. So I think now time is over. Yeah, almost over. So maybe there's a few minutes left. So anybody has falling down? Oh, yeah. Oh. See, when you jump, first jump is not going to help you to the second jump. You need to put the same effort. Physical thing. Mental things, first effort will help the second effort. It will help all the rest. It's not the physical thing. The amount of energy you put jump on, second time you require the same effort, not less, maybe more. So mind is not like that. First effort help the second effort, then it will become easier. Jumping, so like you need to put same effort. Physical thing you need to put same effort. Mental thing is require less. It's become the point where you don't need any effort, called effortless. Okay. Yeah, thank you very much. So all of you have a wonderful evening. Good night. Then see you next Wednesday. Venerable Alhamdulillah do some dedication.
Due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may we quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel bodhicitta that has not arisen arise and grow, and may that which has arisen not diminish, but increase more and more. Just as the brave Manjushri and Samantabhadra realize things as they are, we too dedicate all these merits in the best way that we may follow their perfect example. We dedicate all these roots of virtue. The dedication praises the best by the victorious ones of Skanda the 3 times, so we might perform good works. We dedicate whatever virtues we have ever collected for the benefit of the teachings and of all sentient beings, and in particular for the essential teachings of perfect pure Losang Drapa to shine forever. Now the long life prayers. Verse 4 is Holiness. The land encircled by snow mountains, you are the source of all happiness and good, all powerful, Chen Rezi Tenzin Gyatso, please remain until samsara ends. And the one for Sarah J. Kinsen Rinpoche Losandela, Jitsun Losandela. The one who mastered his speech at a very young age. The one with great patience who received the name Alatare. The one with great precision who spread the teachings of Lama Tsongkhapa on bliss and void. Lama ornament of the Yellow Hat tradition, please remain until samsara ends. And the one for Lama Tsongkhapa Rinpoche. You uphold the subduers more away who serve as the bountiful bearer of all, sustaining, preserving, and spreading Mahajana's victorious doctrine, who masterfully accomplished magnificent prayers honoring the 3 jewels, Savior of myself and others, your disciples, please, please live long. Avalokiteshvara, great treasure of non-objectifying compassion. Manjushri, master of stainless wisdom. Tsongkhapa, crown jewel of the sages of the land of snows. To Losang Drapa, at your feet I make requests. And then 7 Tara mantras for Geshe and Geshe Sampo Song, healthy, happy. Om Tare Tu Re So Ha. 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 Om Tare Tu Re So Ha.
Oh yeah, thank you very much and have a wonderful night. Good night.
Thank you, Geshe.
Oh, yeah, good
Thank you, Geshe.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Geshe.
Thank you, Geshe.
Okay.
We're gonna